I booked my first Carnival cruise in over a decade, and after I booked it, I did wonder if I had made a mistake. After all, I was seeing mixed reviews of the Carnival Venezia, videos of fights and sniffer dogs, and this was a 4-day cruise in early summer. What was I thinking? But once on board, it wasn't exactly what I expected. Hi there, I'm Ilana from the website lifewellcruise.com. Welcome back to my channel. Now, we recently came back from our cruise on board the Carnival Venezia, a fun Italian style ship. And I have to say, this ship is absolutely beautiful in many ways. I really liked it. But there were also some things, well, that I wasn't exactly expecting, and some things that, as much as I liked, other things that I didn't really like as much. And there was one thing that I actually really regretted not doing on this cruise, which I will share with you in this video. And as well, of course, I'm going to be sharing with you some tips and tricks that you can use along the way. Now, before I get started, I did want to mention that if you like this video, if you find it helpful, informative, or enjoyable in any way, then please do give this video a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Let's get started. Our cruise on board the Carnival Venezia was a 4-day cruise leaving from the Manhattan cruise port in New York, heading to Bermuda for 1 day. Now, the Carnival Venezia looks very different from other Carnival ships. It was actually a cruise ship that was originally owned by Costa Cruise Line, and Carnival has purchased it. And even though it does say Carnival, fun Italian style, on the cruise ship, and it says Venezia along the top, it does still have that C for Costa on the funnel. Now, the Carnival Venezia is approximately 135,000 tons. It holds 4,200 passengers at double occupancy and about 5,200 passengers if we include third and fourth passengers or full occupancy. Now, we were told on our cruise that there were 5,012 passengers. Now, I do mention this because it will play into my review. Embarkation day. So let's start with the exciting part. We arrived to board the Carnival Venezia for our boarding time of 10 to 10:30. And what we did is we actually drove up to the Manhattan cruise port. It is hectic. I don't necessarily suggest that you do that. What you can do instead is you can actually stay at the hotel that we stayed in, which was the Fairfield in North Bergen. It turns out that they do have a park and cruise program, and they do offer shuttle services. That being said, parking was easy. We did pack carry-on only, so we brought our luggage straight from our car right over to the cruise terminal. And although it was quite hectic inside the cruise terminal, embarkation was pretty easy. We were on board the cruise ship by 11:45. Now, once on board, we knew that our cabins wouldn't be ready yet, but we headed up to lunch at Guy's Burger Joint. Now, because it had been so long since I cruised on Carnival, the last time that I did, they didn't have a Guy's Burger Joint. So we stopped for hamburgers, and I can say they did not disappoint. Now, the other thing that I had, which I highly recommend, is I think it was called the Fun Ship Special. And basically, that's just a really good rum punch. I really did enjoy it. Now, I did purchase it in the Keeper Cup. The Keeper Cup was $15. The drink itself was $11, so a total of $26. Now, that Keeper Cup was pretty fabulous because it did really keep my drink cold for quite a long time. I even got a second drink a little bit later on. That was a really good Keeper Cup. Unfortunately, my bad, I did put it down at one point and I lost it. Now, the area that we stopped to eat in was on the Lido deck, and it is pretty nice because you have a lot of seating that's in the shade. I really did enjoy this for Guy's Burger Joint, and even if you were going to have some of the Mexican-Italian food that is at Tomodoro's, even if you're having some coffee or gelato, it is a really nice place to sit, not only on embarkation day, but throughout the cruise. Now, I'm going to go through different aspects of this cruise, from the food to the entertainment to the demographics to what we liked, what we didn't like as much, and as well who I think that this cruise and this cruise ship is for. But before we do that, let's go through the cruise ship itself. The Carnival Venezia is a really beautiful ship, and this was something that surprised me a little bit because the last time that I was on a Carnival cruise back in 2011, honestly, the cruise, well, my eyes hurt a little bit. It was just way too flashy for me. I really did overall like a lot of the decor on this cruise ship, and I found on the most part it was just really tasteful and pretty and aesthetically just really nice, especially as we walked through the deck on deck 5. There were different bars and lounges. I really did appreciate the decor and the overall atmosphere, very nicely appointed. As well, you had a little section off deck 5 that was outdoors, sort of a boardwalk area. That was really nice. Now the top deck, something that was really nice, and I don't think I've really seen it on cruise ships before, is that they had umbrellas that were out that provided a little bit of shade. So at the aft pool and other areas on the cruise ship, that was just really nice. It did remind me a little bit of those pictures that you see of the Amalfi Coast and of Positano. So I guess that's where that fun Italian style kind of came in. Now, as we look at the Lido deck, there is that center Lido deck pool. Now, the feedback from a lot of people that were on the cruise ship was, although this was a very pretty area and it was nice to eat in, they really did miss the traditional Carnival midsection pool, where usually there would be those pool games and that sort of thing. And I do think that that atmosphere of the pool, well, it was a little lacking in terms of the atmosphere for activities. Now, the aft pool and area was really nice. I would say especially in the morning time. Once we hit about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, it got way too crowded for me to even look at. Now, I know sometimes people say that all cruise ship pools are crowded, but truthfully, this was probably the most crowded pool and hot tub itself that I've ever seen. Now, that being said, it was a summer cruise to Bermuda. There were a lot of families and kids on board, so perhaps that might be understandable. Now, along the top deck, it was actually pretty spacious. They had some different exercise equipment that you could use. There was a sports deck for basketball games and pickleball. There was also a fun zone with mini golf and a ropes course. And then, of course, you did also have those water slides to keep families and, well, anybody who's kind of young at heart busy. Now, right in front of the ropes course, a place that you just might miss, but you don't want to if you are an adult, is the Serenity area. This area, very beautiful, with tables, lounge chairs, couch style areas, and a couple of big hot tubs. So definitely this is an area that if you are an adult, you might want to go to. I thought that this was one of the most beautiful areas on the cruise ship. Now, on the interior of the cruise ship, you had the atrium. The atrium was really pretty, definitely a little bit flashy. I guess it was supposed to look like it was Venetian style or something like that. It was very pretty, and something that I liked is oftentimes there was live music playing in that area with a bar beneath and a lot of different shops that surrounded that area. It definitely was a really nice hub of the cruise ship. Now, another area that was also very pretty was one of the main dining rooms, which really had a Venetian style theme. The Grand Canal dining room is where we were eating, and we thought that the atmosphere was lovely. Our cabin. We booked a balcony cabin on the 6th deck. Now, I actually did something that I usually tell people not to do, which is I booked kind of last minute. I booked about a month before for this cruise. It honestly wasn't even the cheapest price, but the dates just really fit well for me. In any case, that was the cabin that was available. It turned out to be a pretty good location. It was pretty close to the elevators and stairway, which really did make it easy for us to navigate. We were in the aft area generally. We were able to go up to the Lido deck or down to deck 5 and to our dining room very easily. Now, our cabin was nice and relatively spacious. You can see that they're really trying to bring in that Italian theme throughout the cruise. So that really includes in the cabin itself. Now, in terms of the storage, it was actually pretty good. I was pleasantly surprised. Now, it was a 4-day cruise. I did carry on only, so yay me. But there were actually some hooks in the cabin to hang a backpack or any sweaters or baseball caps or anything like that. So that was pretty practical. Now, the balcony had 2 chairs and a little table and was a nice place to sit out. Now, in terms of the bathroom, it had a little bit of an old Italian style. I guess that's what they were going for. But the nice part was there was a shower door rather than a curtain. Now, by the way, we were 3 in our cabin, so there was a Pullman bed that could come out for our son, Ethan. He did sleep in the Pullman bed one night, but then after that, he decided that he preferred to have that sofa made up as a bed instead. And our cabin steward, who was excellent, happily obliged. The entertainment and activities. Now, I was a little bit, I wouldn't say disappointed in the entertainment and activities, but I was a little bit surprised. I expected when it came to the daytime, I think I expected it to be a little bit more rowdy, a little bit more loud, a little bit more sort of fun ship. during the day. And I would say that overall the vibe was mostly pretty relaxing. We did go over to where they had some fun games at the main pool one day, but those games weren't really in the pool. They were more like on the stage. I think it was like a scavenger hunt. And it was a little bit low key. So it doesn't mean that this is bad, but it wasn't exactly what I expected. The evening activities. Well, we started off with a welcome show on the first night. And well, all I can say is it got better from there. We saw the Family Feud. That was really, really good. We also went to the 80s party, and the cruise director and the fun squad did an amazing job. One of the things that I really liked about this cruise, by the way, is there were a wide variety of ages, and everybody was really just having a good time. So there were some people that were in their 20s and they were dancing, and then I saw other people in their 30s, their 40s, their 50s, all the way through their 60s, 70s, and beyond. I have to say, Carnival really did bring the fun to the 80s party. Now, a real highlight for me, and I do remember this from my past Carnival cruise, but is the comedy shows. I think that Carnival does comedy really, really well. The two comedians that we saw on board were excellent and a little bit different. They didn't bring out those typical cruise jokes that are kind of sometimes a little bit corny that you do see often on other cruise lines. And if you like live music, or even if you like DJs, they really did that very well as well. So there was a DJ next to the aft pool that was playing music, so that was a lot of fun. But there were also live bands, and they were playing in the lounges. They were playing, like I said, in the atrium. That was usually like a solo act, but really, really nice. And especially because some of the lounges are actually open to sort of the hallway area where you're walking, you did get that nice atmosphere as well. Oh, and I should mention, although we didn't go to them, there were some indoor activities as well that looked pretty happening, so including trivia. And of course, if you're a casino player, I think that you would enjoy that as well on sea days and the evenings. The food and dining. Now, I have to say, this was another area that really wasn't exactly as I expected, both for good and for bad. So starting off with the good. Well, the main dining room, we only went there one night of the cruise, but it was actually really good. And what we had was, we had an excellent mushroom soup. This was a recommendation from our waiter, and one of my cruise tips always is listen to the recommendations of the waiter. He told us this was excellent, people really liked it, and I have to say, that mushroom soup rivaled some of the other premium cruise lines that we've been on. It was so good. Now as well, we had appetizers like shrimp cocktail and Caesar salad, and we all decided to have the prime rib, which was very flavorful. Now, of course, no meal in the main dining room would be complete without having the warm chocolate melting cake. It was so good. Now, the waiter also recommended the creme caramel. It was really, really good. The only thing that I could say is it should have been probably a little bit warmer. Now, I had heard some people say that the service wasn't great in the main dining room or that it was too slow, and we really didn't find that. Our service was excellent, and again, probably rivaled some of the premium cruise lines that we've had. We were very impressed. Now, first I'm going to talk about the included food, but then I will talk about the specialty dining as well. Now, something else that we tried was the sea day brunch. This was also in the main dining room. Tip for you is it does start at 9 a.m., at least on the day that we had the sea day brunch, and I would say get there early. So even a little bit before 9, log into your Carnival Hub app and do a little check-in, and that is the best way to get into the sea day brunch quicker. The sea day brunch was very nice. I had a bagel and smoked salmon. We asked for some fruit. I don't think it was on the menu, but they did bring it to us, which was really nice. We also had a yogurt parfait. It did have granola in it. I was sort of mixed on that, but it was overall very good. The only thing that I would say was a little bit of a miss was the 24 or the 12-hour French toast. It was just kind of greasy, but otherwise the rest of the food, and again the service, was pretty good. Other included food, which is really nice for a casual option, are Guy's Burger Joint, and as well you do have the Mexican Italian place. We had burritos there one day. Now, I had a shrimp burrito that I really liked. My husband and Ethan, well, they ended up having the chicken burrito, and they did find the chicken a little bit salty. The buffet. Now, I know many of us don't have high expectations when it comes to a buffet on a cruise ship, but the buffet surprised me, and not in a good way, but I will explain. Now, I do like to go to the buffet in the morning time on a port day, and as well on a sea day, to eat something kind of quickly, sometimes even to pick up something that might be a little bit healthier that I can find in the buffet. And I have to say, firstly, there are big lines in the buffet. And I think that this has to do with the fact that there just are not enough buffet areas or stations for the amount of people that are on the cruise ship. Now, as well, when it came to the food itself, I just didn't like the options. Now, I know everybody is different, but for me, when I took a look at the potatoes, I could see the potatoes just looked like they were sitting in grease. When it came to the eggs Benedict, well, I was almost going to take one, but they were little pink things on the top that looked like maybe fake bacon bits or something like that. It just didn't look appetizing to me. So personally, I think that Carnival could improve in that area. I know that Carnival is working on their evening menus in the main dining room, and I think that that is a great thing, but I do think that they could perhaps revisit their main dining room, add in some more up-to-date options that some people would like to have, maybe some healthier options. I even found that when it came to the salad buffet, it was very sparse, very little. So personally, I just didn't really find it appetizing, and we really just didn't eat in the buffet very much at all. Now, on the plus side, in the very back of the buffet for lunch, there is a deli. I did have a tuna sandwich for lunch one day. I found that pretty good, although the tuna was very cold, almost like it had just been frozen. Now, another area, this is a really good lunch option, and maybe something that not a lot of people are aware of. At the very back, so at the aft pool, you do have a little Chinese buffet that is out there around lunch. So one day we did have that. So we had some egg rolls and some other Chinese options. That was pretty good and offered some variety. Now, I had a piece of Carnival's pizza, and I am a cruise ship pizza fan. And I have to say, the pizza was pretty good. I did fold it up, and it was yum. Now, I did want to try as much food as we could within those 4 days. So we did do 3 specialty restaurants. We did Fahrenheit 555, which is the steakhouse. And oh my goodness, was this ever excellent. I have to say, I think this might be one of the very best steakhouses on cruise ships. Now, a little tip, if you go on the very first night of your cruise to the steakhouse, they will give you a free bottle of wine. Definitely a nice perk. We loved the presentation. We loved the service. We loved the dessert. Everything was excellent. Now, the other restaurant we went to was Il Viaggio. That was pretty good. We enjoyed the atmosphere. It was so beautiful. We enjoyed the meal. However, I think when it comes to Italian food, something that we realized, we live in Montreal. We have some really good Italian food here, is generally on a cruise ship, well, we just find the Italian food that we have at home just a little bit better. Now, we were hoping to get into Bonsai Teppanyaki, but that was already booked up. That looked like a lot of fun. But where we did go was for sushi. We really enjoyed it. We had the soup, we had some sushi rolls, and the tempura shrimp and salad. It was very good. The bars and drinks. Now, we were pleasantly surprised at how good the drinks were on board Carnival Venezia. Now, just to mention, we did not get the Cheers drink package. We decided to pay by drink. I wasn't sure if that was the best idea, but we did bring a couple of wine bottles on board. We had the free bottle of wine the first night of our cruise at the specialty dining restaurant. And I did think that maybe paying drink by drink might be a better option for us. Despite having many good drinks, including at the Amari bar, that was our favorite bar. By the way, I had an Aperol Spritz. I don't think that was on the menu, but they made it just really good at that bar. My son would have the pistachio martini, an excellent martini, and my husband had the Remedy. Those were our favorite drinks. So looking at the end of our cruise at our bill, I can tell you that for us, it was worth it not to get the drink package. Now, by the way, when it came to bars, I did find that overall the ship was adequately staffed at the bars, with the exception of the aft pool bar. It was so crowded there. It took us, I think, about 45 minutes to get a daiquiri one time. Not the end of the world, but I am mentioning it because there are some other bars that are just a little bit quieter. In particular, the Carnival bar that I believe it is on deck 5. Absolutely beautiful there. You can grab a drink there. And this leads me to my next point and my one regret. So right behind the Carnival bar, if you go through those doors, you are going to have the terrazza area. Oh my goodness, this is an absolutely gorgeous area. And by the way, it really is only accessible to those that are in the terrazza or that cabana area. So you do need that terrazza cabin to be able to enter into that area with beautiful seating, a couple of hot tubs until 7 p.m. After 7 p.m., anybody can go there. I do really suggest that you go there. It's absolutely beautiful. The bartenders are fabulous, and it really is just much more quiet. So if I could do anything different on this cruise, I would have booked in that terrazza area because the ship does tend to be very crowded around the pools. And I did find that this was an area that you could sit so peacefully and really watch the water, which I love to do. Okay, so what are the positives and the negatives of Carnival Venezia? And who do I think that this cruise is best for? So let's start off with the positives. The Carnival Venezia is a beautiful cruise ship. The staff, the Carnival crew, are honestly so friendly and so helpful. Carnival should be really proud of the people that they have working for them. Now, when it came to the people on board, we found people to be very friendly, very talkative, very chatty, overall nice, courteous people. Now, I know there are some concerns and some worries about the fighting or about some of the other issues on Carnival cruise ships, so I will leave the video that I did that really addressed that whole topic and the demographic. I will leave that at the end of this video. Now, when it came to the negatives, something that I didn't mention within this video, but a negative was a little bit of a lack of guidance, a little bit of a lack of direction, or even signage on this cruise ship. And I do mean when particular things were happening. So in particular, when you were boarding, nobody really was there to greet people and say, go this way towards the buffet, or here's the elevator area, go up to deck 10 where you can eat, that sort of thing. There really wasn't a lot of guidance. The same thing happened at Embarkation. There was really nobody there to guide. There were no signs, and there were no high-ranking crew members, so like the cruise director or the captain or anybody that was saying goodbye to passengers as they left. Now, when we were getting off the cruise ship in Bermuda, there was no sign just even at the stairway to say gangway below or walk this way, so there was a little bit of confusion at those times. Now, the other negative, I mentioned it earlier, but I have seen this mentioned in other reviews, so I hope that Carnival will consider doing something about this, really was the buffet. I think that they could just do a better job at this. And for hot weather cruises in particular, this ship, at least on the Lido deck, really does get very crowded. I think if you were on a Canada-New England cruise or a cooler weather cruise or a transatlantic, you probably wouldn't find this. So who is this cruise for? Well, I do think that the cruise is good for really people of all ages, but I think it is good for families because there are a lot of activities that are on board. There's also a lot that is really included in the cruise, so I think in terms of value, that is a really good thing. I think it's also a really good cruise ship for groups. We saw a lot of groups that were on board, from girls' friends groups to family and friends groups. There is really a lot to do during the day and the evening, so I do think that this cruise ship does suit people well. And people that are casino players. We met a lot of casino players on this cruise, and they were very much enjoying it. I do think people that are avid Carnival fans do have to adjust their expectations to the different layout of this cruise ship. So what's the final verdict, and would I sail with Carnival again? Well, overall, we really liked this cruise. It actually probably was a little bit beyond our expectations of how nice this cruise ship was and how friendly the people were, as well as the crew. And overall, we liked the food, although we did spend a little bit of extra money on some of that specialty dining. Now, would we sail with Carnival again? Well, firstly, I recognize that different cruise ships and different cruise lines suit different people, and it also does depend on what you want out of a vacation. However, I would like to sail with Carnival on Celebration or on Mardi Gras or on Jubilee, and of course adjusting my expectations to the fact that I am not getting a luxury cruise, but I do still think that Carnival has fun, good value cruises. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Please let me know any of the questions that you might have, and let me know your thoughts as well. If you've sailed on the Carnival Venezia, or if you will be in the future, please let me know down in the comments below. Now, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I am going to leave that other video I talked about right at the end of this one. If you did enjoy it, please do give the video a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Bye for now, and happy cruising.